On Tuesday, Iran and Oman drew a road through the Strait of Hormuz, the first anyone has drawn in 6 months of war. It is 7 miles wide. It enters through Iran's territorial waters, and part of the exit runs through Iran's waters too. The two foreign ministers even announced a joint project to clear the strait of mines. And within a day, Iran's deputy foreign minister looked at the only reopening plan on Earth and said the strait is still closed. Then the market did something neither government ordered. Oil fell. So tonight, one question, and every number this week hangs on it. What is the Strait of Hormuz actually still worth? And who is still paying for it? Here is why that question reaches your wallet. A fifth of the world's oil and liquefied gas used to move through that water. And for 6 months, you have paid for its strangling at every fill-up. But on Tuesday and Wednesday, crude extended its losses, and energy stocks went red, and the relief arrived without the water opening. Read that twice. The price of the world's most important choke point went down, while the choke point stayed shut. That is not a ceasefire dividend. That is a market quietly writing down an asset. Now look at the road itself, because the details tell you who owns it. Entry through Iranian waters. Exit partly through Iranian waters. Temporary by Tehran's own label, with Iranian authorities monitoring every commercial hull that uses it. Kazem Gharibabadi, the deputy foreign minister, says no military vessel of any country will be allowed through. Says American mine-clearing ships would make very good targets, and says the American president's claim that the mines are already cleared is propaganda aimed at calming the markets. We told you last episode the only living reopening plan carried no American signature. It still does not. What Muscat notarized this week is not an open strait. It is a toll booth, with the toll collector's flag on both doors. But the strongest evidence this week is not in the corridor. Watch the water instead, and count. On Tuesday, 5 commodity vessels crossed the strait. The 10-day average is 15. Meanwhile, Qatar Energy issued its second tender in a week to sell crude transferred ship to ship outside the strait entirely. 2 supertankers carrying 4 million barrels of Saudi crude loaded the same way, off Oman, and sailed for China without entering the water both capitals claim to command. Japanese media report Tokyo will help fund new pipelines that bypass the strait altogether. Dubai's main airport lost nearly a third of its passengers in half a year. The world is not waiting for the gate to open. It is pouring concrete around the gate. Here is the historical twin, and it is exact on mechanism. In 1967, Egypt closed the Suez Canal, and it stayed closed for 8 years. The world did not stop moving oil. It built supertankers and sailed around Africa, and when the canal reopened, it mattered less, permanently, because the customers had learned to live without it. A choke point's power is a habit, and this is month 6 of the world unlearning the habit of Hormuz. Our standing read on this channel is that a market once lost does not come back. Tehran is spending everything it has to hold a card the table is slowly ruling out of the game. Which brings us to Washington's week. Because the economic D-Day we covered last episode now has a target list. And the most important name on it is not Iranian. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, promising what he calls economic asphyxiation, rolled out sanctions on brokers, shadow fleet tankers, and trading firms from Hong Kong to Switzerland. But notice what the operation did not touch. Not one Chinese bank. And Beijing answered anyway, on camera, through its foreign ministry. Sanctions and pressure resolve nothing, and China will do everything necessary to defend its rights and interests. Tehran's biggest customer, the buyer of more than 8 in 10 of its exported barrels last year by tracking data, just declined the invitation to the blockade. So hold the two halves of this campaign side by side. Against Iran, the squeeze already works. Loadings are down to a seventh of their pre-war level. The new operation is aimed at everyone else, and its sharpest teeth, a strike on Chinese banking, are exactly the teeth Washington has so far not dared to use. A war that began over one regime is now a test of whether the world's two largest economies will bill each other. And while two superpowers argue over a waterway, the people who live behind it are paying the toll in hours and in blood. When the government in Tehran said fuel quotas would be reviewed, queues formed at the capital's petrol stations within the day, because Iranians have learned what a review means. The president admitted in a broadcast speech that people are facing many problems. At the country's most prestigious technical university, a student was expelled and banned from every university for 4 years over a stuffed toy rat hung from a tree. And pro-government religious groups are now fundraising to slaughter 10,000 sheep for the health of a supreme leader nobody has seen walk, at about $132 an animal. Run the regime's own arithmetic. One sheep costs more than a month of an ordinary wage. The leader it is offered for exists as one carefully released video, and the queue at the pump gets longer. Last winter, by the authorities' own reporting, more than 3,000 people died in unrest that started over prices. The system is choosing the sheep. Scoreboard, because we keep ours in public. We called no reopening owned in public by a named Iranian authority, and this week even the corridor arrived, with the Strait remains closed stapled to it. We called the only living plan carrying no American signature, and the corridor is an Iran and Oman document. Both calls hold. That is the reporting. Here is our take. Mohsen Rezai, the head of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, told state television on Saturday that if the neighbors join the economic war, Iran will target the oil routes that bypass Hormuz. Sit with what that admits. The regime's only way to restore the strait's value is to make the detours as dangerous as the gate. And every strike on a detour hands Washington the license for the bigger strike it is already pricing. Not a signature, an escalation, with the alternatives becoming the battlefield. What would change our mind is a permanent corridor outside Iranian control carrying normal traffic, and the board does not show one. Bottom line, this war continues, and the strait it is fought over is worth a little less every week it stays shut, which makes the men holding it more dangerous, not less. Before you go, the queue in Tehran and the student banned over a toy are the same story as the tankers off Oman. Ordinary people routing around a state that has stopped serving them. So watch 3 things with us. The corridor announcement out of Muscat, the daily transit count, and the petrol queues. Because the regime can blame a foreign navy for the water, but not for the pumps. If this breakdown helped you see the week clearly, hit like. It is free and it tells us to keep drawing the board. And subscribe, because the board moves every day, so you catch the pieces before they move.